from Stephen Sanders Trucking. Merry Christmas from Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Are you ready for these toys?
Yes, sir. Bring the toys to me.
Let's have fun. Merry Christmas. Let's have fun. Hurry, boys and girls, hurry. It's what time of the year?
Christmas time.
And what do we say?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you from Wiley Sanders Truck Line and Stephen Sanders Trucking. Let's make this the biggest toy drive ever. Townsend's, Troy Cable, Trojan Detail. Those are your drop-off points.
Merry Christmas from the staff and management of Troy Cablevision. I'm Mike Amos, he's Bill Rice, and he's Forrest Lee, and this is Today in L.A. That's Lower Alabama, not Los Angeles, California, but Lower Alabama. Bill Rice is back in the game. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Mike.
Give me an elbow.
I miss you guys. I don't know if y'all talked about it, but Carrie had COVID, and so I had to be in isolation for a period of time.
And you're back and going strong and feeling great. And how does it feel, man? That's sit back and look at the walls for 10 days.
Man, I stayed busy. The kids had to sit out too for 10 days. That's tough when you're in charge of an 8-year-old and the 5-year-old. But I stayed busy taking care of the kids and taking care of Carrie, and then I did a lot of writing too.
Well, we're ready to go today, and of course, y'all been wearing your mask, is that right?
Every time I go out of the house, I wear my mask.
Yeah, and of course, we appreciate all the efforts that people are making to not only protect themselves, but protect others from this COVID-19 virus. More and more people are coming down with it, especially right here in Troy. I'm not going to release any names, but some of them are well-known people in our community that have come down with the virus. And Forrest Lee, what kind of news do you have this morning for us?
Oh, well, there's several. One thing I would like to mention, tomorrow night I'll be hosting the Crenshaw County Chamber of Commerce Christmas Parade. It will start at 6 o'clock in downtown Luverne, and joining me on the live broadcast will be Miss Sharitha Carter, so join us at that time. It'll be live here at Troy Cable. A couple of other things, the women's basketball team at Troy University, they will play basketball today at noon against Chattanooga.
Should be a good game. Chattanooga, I think it has a good program.
And it's going to be on ESPN Plus, and they'll play at noon today. And last Monday night, our Lady Trojans of Troy University defeated LaGrange 131-57. Tomorrow, the men will travel to North Alabama, and they will play North Alabama at 6 o'clock tomorrow, the Troy men's team.
What's the men's record?
About 1-3,
Yeah,
I think.
they're off to sort of a slow start right now.
And,
Good morning, you're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Off to a slow start. They just got beat by Texas Tech by 34. Of course, they're ranked number 17 in the country, and they went to UAB and played Andy Kennedy. Andy Kennedy's now 4-0 at UAB and got beat by 22.
So 22 and 34 are not very good, not very bad, are they? Troy, so far they're not 50 down yet.
I mean, it's a must-win in Florence tomorrow night.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That for sure, the coach can't play. If the coach could play, I believe we'd be pretty good, but he can't play.
and after that, we play Sanford at home next week. At home, and then we go to Auburn next weekend. Isn't that correct, Michael? On the 19th?
What's the date and time for that Auburn game? That'd be a lot of fun.
I don't know if they're going to lose.
Me and Rice, we'll get Rice and Forrest in the same car. What is? Oh, he's a frat boy there. He's a yuppie frat boy. He lives. Well, hey, Mike, he lives in Hillcrest. What do you think?
My hair's too long. I'm gonna get a haircut Saturday, but when my hair gets too long, I put on the hat.
Look, there's Orange Street. There's Meadow Grove. There's Maple Street. There's
Meadow Grove.
yeah. Well, you just have to know Troy to know that. It's out toward Henderson, Mike. That little subdivision out there. You got the Country Club. You got what's the place?
Heritage Ridge.
What now?
Heritage Ridge.
Heritage Ridge, Crow Hill, And then way over here you got Hillcrest. Whoa, that's where all the former guys used to wait every Friday afternoon, got the whiskey bottle out.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you didn't drink whiskey back in the old days, they wouldn't let you live in in Hillcrest.
Hey, when is the Clyde May distillery coming? Is it
It's
still
coming. It's being constructed as we speak.
Really? Wow.
It's being constructed. Troy's getting its own distillery. Yeah, you got a real echo this morning too. I don't know what's the deal.
I didn't turn that one on.
But of course, ladies and gentlemen, it is already the 9th day of December, and we're moving right along toward the big day, Christmas Day. Of course, turkeys from heaven, ladies and gentlemen. The wonderful, wonderful program that goes out and gives turkeys to a
How
lot
was
of
your
needy people.
Thanksgiving? Was it good?
My Thanksgiving was excellent. You know why? I had the best dressing in the world.
From Sisters?
From Sisters.
We did the same thing. How
I'm
about you?
telling you, we ate on that.
We went to Gatlinburg and I cooked the dressing.
Yeah,
Yeah, my Jody and Abby and I and her sister.
So
and
you
husband,
and I had a good Thanksgiving, and his family had a terrible
I can bring you
Thanksgiving
some.
because they had to eat his dressing.
Was there a lot of people
It was
in
gone.
Gatlinburg? Good.
It was gone because it was the only thing they had.
I'll tell you, we had Sisters dressing.
We went to the beach and watched the girls swim, Dad. Dad, did you ever think you'd see your granddaughter swimming on Thanksgiving Day?
I know it. We got to do something about that echo in your sound. Mike Amos coming to us from Great Beach, Florida, and we know there's a bunch of yuppies down there. Yeah, well, that's right. We went swimming on Thanksgiving Day down there.
Good.
And had fun. Of course, Bill Rice, I know you've been doing a lot of writing and you've been doing a lot of thinking. What has that brain of yours come up with since last time we saw you?
Well, I had 2 stories published. One was on the protocols in college football are really what's canceling all these games. It's not COVID per se, so you have these contact tracing protocols, and in the Big Ten, they mean that if one player comes in contact for 15 minutes with somebody that tests positive, they've got to sit out for 21 days, Mike. I mean, they're completely healthy. You know, they're just twiddling their thumbs, playing video games, I guess.
Well, I've always wondered how Saban just got, 7 days, maybe?
Well, but that's because he tested positive. So actually it's funny that the people that test positive, they've got to sit out 7 to 10 days, but the players who don't test positive have to sit out 21 days.
Well, let me just
I
tell you
I wrote one column at uncoverdc.com on that topic that I got a lot of good response on.
a lot of people gathered together to watch the Alabama-Auburn game, and some people just gathered together in a circle and had good conversation. And a lot of guys and a lot of people I know ended up with the virus.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the virus is exploding in the number of positive cases far beyond anything we've seen.
And hopefully, you know, something that was I read on the report this week, last night actually, is that the methods that doctors and nurses are using to treat it is much better than it was when it started. So people that were real sick when we first started had it a little rougher than the ones now because they know what kind of medicine to give them.
Yep.
Good morning. How you doing?
I was trying to call back in.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, and UAB, I read on Alabama.com, they're requesting that any retired nurse or medical staff to come back and help them out with the staffing of, you know, under the.
That's here in Troy?
That was at University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Alabama, Birmingham.
You know, they're trying to get some retired people back, you know.
And they're cutting short some of their surgeries, and you know, I've got to look into it myself because of the virus. You know, it's just put so much more emphasis on this on the virus than ever before. And this is the largest group, I would say, Rice or Mike. Both Michael keeps up with it quite a bit too. Is this the largest output of the virus that we've seen?
I think so. Yeah. As far as positive cases.
Yeah, the number as far as worldwide, though, I mean, we talked about it the other day. I think it's 99.4% are in mild, asymptomatic, don't even know they have the virus conditions, and then I think it's 0.6 are in critical, really ill from the virus. So it's still one of those things that it only affects a certain amount of people, but unfortunately, it's affecting a lot of people we know right now. It's very sad, especially in Troy, Alabama.
Did you have to actually get tested, Rice?
No. I
You're your own doctor?
Well, I had no symptoms and no fever, and I know all the symptoms, and I never had.
The only thing you have is a runny nose. Is that right?
I've always got a cough.
It's not funny. I'm joking.
And kind of allergy symptoms.
Yeah.
But I never had symptoms. You know what I think? If you want to get deep in the woods on COVID, I've told everybody that I think I had it in late January. I had all the symptoms in a bad case then. Chills, loss of smell and taste, body aches, you name it. If it was on the CDC website, I had it. And I've since read that anybody that's had it, their immunity, this is good news, Mike, that you're probably immune from getting COVID again for at least 8 months, maybe over a year. And we've talked a lot about antibodies, but it's not necessarily the antibodies that give you this immunity, it's the T-cell immunity. And so people, that's probably why we haven't had any more known cases of reinfection, people getting it twice. So if my theory is right, that I had a pretty bad case in late January, and this latest studies that have come out are true, I would be, immune for up to a year, maybe more, maybe many years, they say, from that one case.
I think people that...
So the good news is somebody does have it, you can get through it, you're looking good, for a long time after that.
So you're not necessarily for people doing a lot of testing, are you?
I think if you got symptoms, yes. Yeah. If you show symptoms yourself, that's the people that... Yeah. That's what high school football did. If a player got symptoms, they got tested. What college football is doing is testing people 4 times a week, maybe more than that. If you're everybody, if you're asymptomatic, I think that's overkill. I don't know why we're testing so many people who are not sick.
I'm looking at...
How can they have the vaccine already in England? They're already giving it to people in the United Kingdom and not giving it to people in the United States. How does that happen? I'm trying to figure that out.
That's a good question.
Well, I tell you a sad note. I'm looking at one of my dear friends' obituary. It's in the paper today, 2 of them. And, of course, Howard Bubba Jenwright, a good friend of mine and great guy, great Trojan. And, of course, the Beard family, we're praying for them. And so many people out there, the Reeves family has been hit hard by this. And a lot of the people were just, all they did was go watch the Alabama-Auburn football game together. And some other people, what we're saying, we're talking about gatherings and somebody having the virus, and it just goes home with them.
Going back to Miss Joan Beard, she is originally from Goshen, Alabama. Her maiden name is Wood. And I called Carolyn Gibson yesterday. She lives in Peachtree City, Georgia. And, of course, she was very active here on the university. And she's an Alpha Gamma Delta as well. And, Mrs. Beard, along with Ms. Harmon and others, brought Alpha Gamma Delta to Troy University's campus 50 years ago.
Bear Bryant's wife's sister. Yeah.
50 years ago this February, and but I know that chapter and its alumni are saddened to hear about Miss Joan. And,
we all are. I'm so sad to hear to hear that news. What a great lady and a great family.
And a class individual.
Yeah,
You're exactly right.
Beautiful lady.
There's no question about it.
Oh,
Of course, you know, we're not doctors. We're just prognosticators.
I got some interesting bowl news I heard yesterday through Brent Jones. He did a press conference yesterday. Do you want to hear about it?
Yes, I would like to hear about it. Brent Jones, the athletic director at Troy.
Troy basically now to make a bowl game, there's 5 bowl tie-ins in the Sun Belt. So it looks like now Troy is going to really have a hard time getting into a bowl spot due to the fact that Georgia State is 4-4 in conference. Georgia Southern is 4-3. We'll play Appalachian State this weekend. At worst, they'll be 4-4. Troy right now is 3-3. Well, what that basically means now, that's 5 bowl slots that pretty much will go to those teams because they won the head-to-head against Troy. Troy lost to Georgia Southern and at home to Georgia State. The only way Troy makes a bowl spot with a Sun Belt tie-in is to beat Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
So now, got to beat Coastal Carolina, and they got to beat La Monroe. Even if they lost to Coastal Carolina and beat La Monroe, they would only be 4-4.
Yeah.
And Georgia Southern and Georgia State would have the tiebreaker because they both beat Troy. So Troy probably will not go to a bowl game.
But I'm gonna tell you though, Mike. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm close to the
man.
To the team a little bit because I hear them practice every day. They're having a great week of practice, enthusiastic. The Troy is coming into the game with a lot of confidence after playing at South Alabama the way they did. And let me just say this, Coastal Carolina doesn't have near the respect for Troy that they need to have. So I think that makes this game a straight-up game. I really do. I think Troy's going to go in there and play it, maybe win the game.
If we can keep it close to the half, then I think it.
And if they can,
starts.
they can get up in the ball game, Mike. You mentioned this. Troy doesn't need to play behind at all. They need to get the breaks and take advantage of them. And Troy did one thing last week that I didn't like. On 4 different occasions, Troy was held on 4th down. Didn't make it, had to turn the ball over on 4th down. So you know, you got to be able to
Keep in mind, these are the Sun Belt rules, so it's not like you know what we thought that any bowl could take anybody they wanted to.
Yeah.
Don't you also think,
Well,
Michael,
and
that,
something.
don't you think that some of these bowl games, like the Sun Bowl, I know some of these bowl games might decide not even to play the bowl. You're seeing more and more players that are opting out. I don't know if fans will be even encouraged to go or can go.
Yeah. We're pushing for the Rose Bowl to give it up, to take that away, because no fans or parents can go to the Rose Bowl.
I don't want to play an empty. I mean, I'd much rather play in front of 20,000 than an empty Rose Bowl.
Well, let me tell you this. We played in the empty South Alabama stadium last weekend, and well, you know, where we were, there were more students than else, but nobody there. Nobody supporting their team.
I know it's sad.
And, you know, you wonder, in that brand new stadium, why they build a brand new stadium if they're going to stay at home, you know?
Well, we were trying to get in the game. They opened up the game at the gates at 11:30, and the game started at 1.
Right.
Mike and I were the first 2 waiting in line. There was nobody else in line to get in on the major
field.
gate.
The teams were already on the field
warming up.
Warm-ups. And I got to see warm-up first class, first hand, and uphold, you know, right there. And Forrest would tell you, I turned to Forrest and said, you know, Troy looks pretty good. and sure enough, they played their hearts out. But you know, another thing we do have in our favor is the executive director of 3 of those bowl games just happens to be a former athletic director here at Troy, named Johnny Williams.
That's good.
But at the same time, Johnny Williams told me
the Sun Belt made rules that the top 5 teams go.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, what Brent Jones mentioned in other ESPN bowl tie-ins with games. I mean, you think some of these cities throughout the country want Troy to come in there? I mean, you could have a more name brand program.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this: there's a chance, like you said, if we beat and we beat Coastal and beat Louisiana Monroe, we deserve to go to a bowl game.
Troy beats Coastal and beats Louisiana Monroe. That's
And this
a
is
great ending to the season.
And this is the same team, Coastal Carolina, that beat Troy in overtime and on a very controversial call.
Yeah.
And went crazy like they had won the national championship. That's the same team that comes to town.
It's now
this weekend.
The darling of college football.
That's right. The Darlings, just went crazy over beating Troy in overtime last year.
Boy, I'm sure y'all all watched the BYU Coastal Carolina game. That was one of the best I've seen in a while.
Well, I was extremely disappointed when I saw them be beaten physically bad by Appalachian. Appalachian's a real physical team, and they had a great balance with a good quarterback, good running game. If Troy could shut down, and this is a big if Troy could shut down Coastal's running game and make them one-dimensional, they'll have a shot. And that could happen.
Well, if Coastal doesn't have a letdown after that, all the hype and the attention they got last week, they're never going to have a letdown.
Exactly right. And, of course, they're the darling. You're hearing them on all the sports talk shows.
Yep.
50% chance of rain in Troy on Saturday. That could be not good for Troy. Troy's probably going to try to throw the ball a lot.
Hey, I want to throw out some Alabama trivia that I bet I'm the only person in the country that knows.
We'll find out right now.
Alabama beat the LSU Tigers, as we all know. You know what Alabama did when they won that game? They moved into first place in all-time wins in college football history. They passed the University of Michigan.
All time now, Alabama.
But there's a asterisk next to that statement, and the asterisk is that is on the field wins. That is what the scoreboard said after this isn't including all of the wins that the NCAA forced Alabama to forfeit and vacate. That's 29 games. Alabama would be second all time in college football if you take away all those crazy forfeits and vacated games. But on the field, actual games that were played, Alabama has now won 939 football games in the history of its football program. Michigan has won 938. I'll also mention that.
How many more years has Michigan been playing football?
Great question, young Michael. 14 more years. So Alabama has got all those wins with 14 fewer football seasons. And as I pointed out on this show, Alabama did not play the 1918 football season or the 1943 football season. 1918 was the Spanish flu and World War I. Most teams played that year. 1943 was, of course, the heart of World War II. A lot of teams played football somehow, but Alabama didn't. So Alabama could have even more wins if they would have played those 2 years.
Yeah, no question about it. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. So
that's a point of pride. In the history of college football, no program has won more football games, and Alabama and Michigan are far, far ahead of everybody. Like third place, I think, has 870 wins. So Alabama and Michigan are 50 wins ahead of, Nebraska and Oklahoma and all those other people.
Okay, let's answer this question. Why on earth is Michigan and Ohio State not playing each other? I mean, this is one of the biggest rivals in college football. Who is it? Michigan that wants to buy out, or which one?
Michigan
has
COVID issues.
Michigan has COVID protocol issues, as I say.
And also the Purdue and Indiana game is up in the air because of issues with COVID, possible COVID with Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, if the Michigan game's out now, they're supposed to meet this morning, the Big Ten, that they may rematch Ohio State and Indiana.
Yeah.
But if Indiana has COVID issues or possible COVID issues, they may not be able to play them.
The NBA,
they've got
the Big Ten. They came back and belatedly said, "Okay, we'll play football," but they put all these restrictions on there that made it almost virtually. It was definitely going to happen. What we've seen with these strict protocols. I mean, how can you have a player who's not sick, not infected, sit out for 21 days. That's 21 days where
Yeah,
they
you're
can't
right.
they can't practice, they can't stay in shape. Then you get the players who are positive, and most of those are asymptomatic. They're not even sick either. So you've got 30 or 40 players that are sitting around not practicing, and I would say that only maybe 2 might really be sick.
Yeah. Well, you know, undefeated Cincinnati was supposed to play Tulsa in the regular season this weekend. That game has been canceled because of COVID, but they still are planning to play
That's
the
right.
championship game next
That
week
had
on
a
the
lot to do with
19th
it. Yeah.
in Cincinnati because they have the highest.
It
You
seems
know,
like
highest
they would-
ranked team.
It seems like they
So-
would have flexibility and allow teams that don't have COVID
Yeah.
issues to schedule each other.
You know somebody that really don't.
You know, they put Iowa State ahead of Cincinnati in the football rankings now, too. Iowa
Yeah.
State's number 7, Cincinnati's number 8.
I will tell you this. I'll tell you a team that does not want to play this weekend, really does not want to play, and you can understand it if you look at the situation. Why in the world would Coastal Carolina want to play Troy? When the next week they play, when the next week they play for the championship.
Oh yeah, it's nothing but.
I bet
basketball.
they're going to try. That school might try to make something happen with COVID. You know, you know, it could be to their benefit.
Did y'all pick up on the some trivia on the Alabama LSU game? Alabama had 4 assistant coaches that did not coach in that game. I mean, I think you only have 9, isn't that right? So virtually half their coaching
They
staff.
had an analyst. That means Charlie Strong made the trip. The former great Florida defense coordinator. Of course, he was the head coach at Texas and Louisville. He was one of the replacement coaches. Can you imagine having that kind of luxury?
Oh yeah, the replacement coaches are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the top 20 college football playoff rankings. It probably won't happen next year if it's a regular season, but the Sun Belt has 2 teams in the top 20. Coastal's at 13, and Louisiana is at 19.
Louisiana's coming from nowhere right now.
But that,
I mean,
when you have a
Louisiana beat Iowa State. Iowa State now is ranked 7th in the polls. I mean, they deserve to be in the top. I mean, they only lost the 3 points at home to Coastal.
I agree, but with a regular season with everybody's playing, I think you may have one Sun Belt team in a regular environment.
Hey, why
But
would
listen.
Auburn want to get rid of their coach? They got a good chance of going 6-4, Mike. Why would they want to get rid of their coach?
Well, he's lost 4 games, I think, 6 straight years. Over 4 games, 6 straight years. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's beaten Alabama 3 times.
And what is that buyout? Let me turn to my buyout specialist down here.
It's in the 20 million range.
Far
It's
as,
somewhere around 25 million, give or take.
so if you do try
couple
to,
of
that's the
20s.
reason why you don't run your coach off.
You know, pre-COVID, you could find somebody that would write that $20 million check, but post-COVID, it's kind of people are holding on to their money a little more. So.
Right now, Auburn ranks 39th in recruiting. Now, of course, you know, you got to go watch those guys play, but as far as rankings, and, you know, some people keep up with this, and, of course, Auburn next week will get their share of good players, but right now they're ranked 39th, and one poll has them ranked 55th. What's going on at Auburn as far as recruiting, Mike?
Well, I mean, you got to try to, you know, hold on to some guys. They probably lost a few guys to some other programs. I mean, yeah, the unknown situation with Malzahn, I mean, maybe it's an issue as well. You don't know if he's going to be there for, you know, 4 more years, you know, as a recruit coming in. Of course, it can all change up until signing day, and then you got December recruiting, and then you got February recruiting. They might be waiting on some guys for February.
Yeah.
You
All
don't
right.
know.
I'm sure y'all have talked about this, but isn't the size of the fall of the LSU football program stunning in less than 1 year?
Oh, it really is.
I mean, they top of the world, one of the best college football teams ever, and then this year to do what they've done. I went back and looked at some of Coach O's quotes after they beat Alabama last year. I kind of ignored them last year. I didn't want to read about that game. But he made some ridiculous statements that are kind of biting him in the fanny now, you know, about we own Alabama. We're going to beat them like this every time. We're going to dominate them in recruiting. We own. And then you come back and play, and Alabama has 450 yards in the first half. I mean,
They're in the top 5 of recruiting. LSU.
Yeah,
they're like number 3.
That's right.
Or 4.
And
they're still wanting to go.
Alabama's won 8 out of the last 9. How could he ever say that? I mean, he's out of his mind.
I know it.
Yeah, no question about it.
Talked out
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a great slate of football games on tap this weekend. Max Howell will be calling in just a few moments, one of the great football analysts in the country, and we'll find out what he thinks about all of this. And of course, the playoffs right now, if they play tomorrow, as far as how do you think they would be? Alabama, Ohio State, the winner of the Notre Dame Clemson game, and then somebody else.
All right, here's one scenario. Say Alabama beats Florida. Notre Dame beats Clemson.
Not going to happen, but go ahead.
Okay, that means Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and possibly A&M. Now, that's a big if. Now, if Alabama beats Florida, Notre Dame beats Clemson, or if Clemson beats Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame's in it, I think Clemson's in it, I think Alabama's in it, and possibly
Here's
Texas.
the question our viewers care about.
There's so many.
And here's what I'm worried about. Alabama runs the table 10-0 in the SEC, really has one of the most impressive teams in memory in the regular season. But Alabama loses a close game to Florida in the SEC championship. A very, very, very good Florida team with a prolific offense too. Are they going to leave Alabama out of the playoff? Are they going to put a 5-0, 4-0 Ohio State in ahead of Alabama with one loss?
Hey, everybody says Alabama's a lock, Bill. But they beat Arkansas this weekend. They finished the SEC at 10-0, which is unheard of. Everybody says Alabama's such a overwhelming number 1 right now, unanimous. There's no way they would not make the playoffs. Is what they're saying. They need 4.
I think if Clemson beats Notre Dame, I think those 2 will be in, along with Alabama and either Florida or Ohio State, depending on that
it's
game.
scenario season. There's a million different scenarios.
The two big games. There's no
way a Pac-12 team can be involved. I don't know why they put Iowa State in there. You can't put Iowa State in there when they've lost a game in conference and the Louisiana Lafayette. How they're 7th right now is ridiculous.
All right, most people think Clemson's going to beat Notre Dame. They're in. Alabama's going to beat Florida. They're in. Let's see here. Ohio State doesn't look like they have to play.
Florida's not a loss for sure. I mean, that's going to be a high-scoring game.
Well, let's just say they do win, and most people would think they would win. Now, who does Ohio State have to play to get into the Final Four?
That's nothing.
Northwestern, real tough.
Oh boy!
Why is Ohio State got this high regard? Their best win is Indiana, and they won by a touchdown over Indiana.
I think that's Max
Howell, I believe.
Good morning.
Morning, Mike. How you this morning?
You're talking to Bill Rice Jr. He's in after a little brief sit down.
Hey, I've lost Michael. Mike, you know how to get him back? I got to put him on hold.
I'll get him. Let's put Mike Amos on hold. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with more of Today in LA, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks. Hey, nobody beats the Premier deal. Nobody.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Merry Christmas from Stephen Sanders Trucking. Merry Christmas from Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Are you ready for these
Yes,
toys?
sir. Bring the toys to me. Merry
Let's have fun. Merry Christmas. Let's have fun. Hurry, boys and girls. Hurry. It's what time of the year?
Christmas time.
And what do we say?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you from Wiley Sanders Truck Line and Stephen Sanders Trucking. Let's make this the biggest toy drive ever. Townsend's, Troy Cable, Trojan Detail. Those are your drop-off points.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Merry Christmas from Stephen Sanders Trucking. Merry Christmas from Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Are you ready for these
Yes,
toys?
sir. Bring the toys to me.
Let's have fun. Merry Christmas. Let's have fun. Hurry, boys and girls. Hurry. It's what time of the year?
Christmas time.
And what do we say?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you from Wiley Sanders Truck Line and Stephen Sanders Trucking. Let's make this the biggest toy drive ever. Townsend's, Troy Cable, Trojan Detail. Those are your drop-off points.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Was it a pretty stadium?
Yes, it was. Back to our show, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. And Jason Gregory and his staff have got all kinds of cars on their lot right now. They've just come in, and the deals are being made every minute for one of these wonderful Dodge Chryslers or Jeep and Ram trucks. And a friend of mine very close to us, I think he resides in a little box up top. I'm afraid we're going to see him in one of those big 2500s, those big ones. And of course, that Ram truck is the truck on the market right now that everybody wants. And of course, you can get it right here at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass.
Hey, Dad, you got me socks last year. Will you put a key in a box, ornament, I guess, up on the
I
tree?
sure did. And then, I forgot that it was there. It was a box that was wrapped on the tree, and I sort of forgot that it was there, so I had to reach in there and get the key out. And then when Michael went over there to get the key off of the tree, it wasn't there, and I said, Mike, since I put that present under the tree a month or so ago, I've come on hard times. So maybe we can do it next year.
I'll be cleaning out the closet. Hey,
But hey, let me just say this. All you folks that are laughing right now, put a little box with a key on your Christmas tree. Not under it, but on your Christmas tree.
That's great.
And say, honey, we got one last little gift, so go find it on the tree.
Yeah. I like
Or you could be like Jason Gregory, be sitting out there in your front yard. Jason Gregory told me he'd be there himself in your front yard with the key to that beautiful Ram truck. But let me tell you this: they'll find a way to bring a car or a vehicle to your house on Christmas Day with a red ribbon. Promise you, they'll find a way. So of course,
that is the ultimate Christmas present.
Great to have Bill Rice Jr. On our show back, and of course, he lives in a beautiful. I was making fun or joking about Hillcrest, but back when I was growing up, Hillcrest was the place you wanted to live because that's where all the rich folks lived, you know. Tip had a big old house over there, and his house was always beautiful at Christmas, and it still is.
Oh, right. It's more beautiful than it's ever been, thanks to what Dwayne and Connie Webb have done to it.
Yeah. And let me just say this. Some people visited, well, not people, my daughter's husband's sister and her son visited us last weekend, and they said we're going to go out and show our company the city of Troy, you know. So they got in the car, you know, didn't let me do it.
No, they should let you do it.
And they stayed gone maybe 30 or 40 minutes. I said, y'all didn't stay very long. I said, where'd y'all go? She said, Thrill Hill. Of all the places she had to show them was Thrill Hill. Of course, it's a deep drive down Thrill Hill, and she told them that I used to go down Thrill Hill on roller skates. I said, no, I was just a big joke. And did you go down on a bicycle? I did, but I had a hard time holding on to that handlebar. You ever gone down a hill and have a hard time holding on to that?
And I bet you didn't make it all the way to the top of the hill on that bicycle.
No question. But I will tell you this, Windley Wade Tatum, and a lot of folks know him, he's still around and is 80-some years old. He went down Thrill Hill on roller skates.
Oh, my gosh.
He was a daredevil anyway. Now, I know his fanny had to be crouched and rubbing hard against the pavement when he was going down. But I don't think he did it straight up. But my brother, Bill Amos, who's 85 years old and lives in South Carolina, Charleston, he's told me that story over and over again. The day that Windley Wade Tatum went down Thrill Hill on roller skates.
He's probably the only person in the history of Troy that I didn't do a story on that.
But out of all the people, all the places she could have took them, and she showed them Troy University and all that, she said, we went down Thrill Hill. And I said, well, what did you tell them to do? She said, well, I told them, like, when they get to the bottom, try to raise your feet off the ground. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Let's go to our phones right here. Good morning. We're back to our show. This is you, Mike, not Max.
I got cut off somehow.
All right, here we go. Let's get Max real quick. I'm sorry about that. There we go. We got you both back on, Max. Sorry about that. Max Howell, one of the leading sports analysts in the country or in the world, especially when it comes to college football. Max, good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Mike. You guys seem like you're having a really good time here.
Well, we're trying to. We're bringing Bill Rice back by special appointment, and we're having a good time with him. Max, of course, you're calling from a cold place in northern Mississippi.
Mike, I'm house sitting from a friend of mine this week, and I'm out there. They've got a beautiful home out there. That's where they charge 5 acres, manicured, by the way.
Yeah.
And, they have a big glass porch
Oh, he does.
And if the phone service is a little better, he's got a booster inside his house that takes care of all the electronics for him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm happy to be there. Be
Hey, I will come stay with you while you're house sitting.
And whereabouts in Mississippi you calling from today?
It's in the north part of the county, in Etowah County, right on the river. And they're retired. They have 2 grown children, but they live off in the north part of the country. So these 2 people, in fact, they're down at the beach this weekend.
Yeah.
This week. That's why I'm house sitting for them. They've got a couple outside dogs and cats, so I come up here and take care of them for them, and I do it about twice a year. And so I'm happy to be here and feeling good, and can't wait to Saturday. Let's start football.
You know, I had some deer to excuse themselves in my front yard. I counted 3 different places in my front yard where they excused themselves. And of course, Bill Rice can get up every morning and see deer everywhere where you live, can't you?
I've counted, 14 or 15 at one time in my backyard.
And of course, that Tip Collie yard is right next door to
they're
it.
growing is the collies.
Exactly right.
The webs.
Well, Max, there's a lot going on and so much going on. I'm going to just sort of let you have it this morning. First of all, what are we going to do about all these foreclosures? That's the way I call them. When these teams decide not to play, especially Ohio State and Michigan.
Well, they'll make some kind of compensation for them. Their conference rule says 6 games, and they'll find a 6th game somewhere. I look Michigan. That's no surprise that Michigan canceled on them.
I wish they would have to play BYU or somebody like that.
Can't play out of conference.
They'll find somebody in their league to play that wants to play. Their rule says 6 games, and they got 5. They're 5-0 right now. But they almost have to play, Mike, for the TV audience, basically, and really they're one of the top 4 teams in the country right now.
Oh, no question.
Without 15 players this past week, they still won the big Michigan State. So I don't think there's any doubt about the talent level. They deserve to be in the playoffs. I just hope they can do it legally, based on the rules that everybody else has to play by.
Yeah. All right. So looking at that Final Four.
I mean, you think about the wear and tear on the body, though. So Alabama's going to play 11 games. Ohio State might play 6, maybe 7 in the championship game. That's not really fair to the teams that played more games, is it?
Well, I mean, is life fair? Come on.
I know, but I'm just saying. They played 4 more games.
Who's going to make the rules?
That's who matters. Who makes the rules? Yep.
See, I'm telling you, you've got to understand, NCAA, first of all, is a voluntary, a volunteer organization. That's first. But secondly, when it comes to the playoff company, NCAA has got one thing to do with that. That's an ad hoc committee that chooses that. So they can win and deal any way they choose to. And it's all about the money, guys. It's all about the money is who the top 4 is going to get in there. What does the TV audience look like? And they've rolled over their graves since Oregon's lost 2 ball games already because they want to get West Coast audience. And they aren't going to get it now because nobody on the West Coast is going to be good enough to play.
All right, now even Southern Cal, if they go undefeated.
Southern Cal's undefeated right now.
And Colorado.
But Southern Cal's only played, 3 games?
Yeah.
I think they're 4-0.
Play 6.
I think they're 3-0, 4-0, but then they won a couple of games in the last minute over sorry teams.
Yeah. All right, Max, continue.
I don't think there's any doubt, guys. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson. I think the question's going to be not about Ohio State. The big question's going to be if Clemson wins over Ohio State in the last game. If they take both of those teams as just one on that conference. My prediction is all of a sudden, if Notre Dame loses that game, Notre Dame becomes an independent again. And that's their justification.
Do you think they would take Notre Dame with 1 loss?
I think so.
All right, that's the story there. You would have Notre Dame and Clemson. Only thing, though, you'd have the biggest, what I could call injustices in the world if Notre Dame and Clemson had to play again for the 3rd time this year.
We'll see it happening.
Well, I think they'll figure out a way that won't happen.
Well,
I mean, I really do. See, there's another outside chance. What if Florida beats Alabama?
you're exactly right. Will they take Alabama with, Mike thinks they'll take Alabama with one loss.
Alabama's locked.
The first priority is win your conference. So they'd have to take Florida. That means they'll take 2 out of the SEC.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lock that they're going to take Alabama.
They're talking about 2 out of the ACC. Why would you not take 2 out of the SEC?
Well, okay, now we got 4 teams, and so we're going to have a national championship with 2 conferences.
Yeah.
And I would think you would have to take Florida if they beat Alabama. You would have to take Florida.
Okay. Alabama going 10-0 in the SEC would be unprecedented. To win 10 games in the SEC and then go into your championship game, they're the most unanimous number 1 in a long time. I mean, there's no way they would drop out of the top 4.
And this is, all right, so.
In your opinion, you can't say that for those guys. There's 13 guys that sit on that.
I don't trust them. I think there's a bias against. I guarantee if Alabama would have beat Auburn last year, which they could have won, Alabama's only loss would have been to a great LSU team by 5 points. They weren't going to put Alabama in the playoffs last year. I've read all. I could tell it.
Well, let me ask you a personal question, Max. Why do so many people hate Alabama? It's like hating the Yankees.
Mike, they stay at the top and they win every year. I mean, why do so many people hate Trump?
Yeah. I mean, why do they hate Saban? He's a nice person.
Yeah.
Real nice person, just like, the guy at Liberty. They're best of buddies.
Let me ask Max a question about the Auburn-Texas A&M game. I watched that live, and then I actually watched the replay. And I watched the Texas A&M offensive line, Max, and I particularly watched their left guard. His first name is Kendall, number 55. That guy looks like a college version of John Hanna. He is awesome. And if you notice, Texas A&M was getting, seemed like 9-10 yards every time they ran the ball.
But the whole thing about the team itself, Bill, is that they're so inconsistent. Did you see them the week before against LSU?
Yeah, right.
Their quarterback's the most inconsistent quarterback in the country.
I mean, that week, he played a decent game against Auburn. Give it to him, but a lot of that was Auburn's fault. But the other side of that is he went 11 for 37 the week before, 105 yards. I mean, you think that's winning football?
Yeah,
if you think A&M is a top number 5 team in the country, guys, I got some land on the Tennessee.
Yeah, I actually don't think. I think Florida's playing better football now and more deserving, although they lost to Texas A&M.
Well, Ohio State's going to be in there. You can go ahead and put them in. But I will say that
I want everybody to watch this left guard at Texas A&M if you get. And I really like the color commentator.
All right, Bill, when are they going to play again? They just canceled the game.
Yeah, that hurts them too.
And,
why didn't A&M call Ohio State? Ohio State and A&M play this week.
I would love. Boy, why can't they do that?
Yeah, A&M's supposed to play Tennessee next week.
Yeah.
You talk about TV. You talk about TV ratings.
Jimbo don't want to play anybody that's got a chance to beat him.
Yeah. Let's be realistic. Ohio State's going to be in there. Alabama's going to be in there. Clemson's going to be in there by beating Notre Dame. Then you got to decide on whether or not you're going to take a once-beaten Notre Dame team against. Well, I don't know. Well, would it be Texas A&M? I don't think Texas A&M deserves to be in that.
Well, they put Notre Dame in there because they become an independent.
Yeah, all right. That'll be it. This is it. Go ahead, and write this down. It'll be Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and Notre Dame. Notre Dame with one record, with a loss on the record. Those are nationally. That's who the NCAA would love to have. Out of every team out there, who's the best? Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and Notre Dame.
What if Notre Dame beats Clemson?
All right, if Clemson's out of there.
Clemson's out.
Clemson's out, and you don't bring Florida in because Alabama beat them. It's a big different scenario if Florida beats Alabama, but I don't think they're going to beat Alabama.
I think they can, Mike. The Alabama's defense has got holes, and they're susceptible to a good quarterback and passing game, and Florida is.
But you know what? It's the mystique. We are Alabama. Remember that. We are Alabama, and all of them just shiver when they hear that name.
Dan Mullen has never beat Alabama, but those were always when he was at Mississippi State. He can beat Alabama in Florida.
Well, all right, let's look at it. If Florida beats Alabama, Michael thinks that Alabama's going to be in the Final Four regardless.
Hope he's right.
I mean, that's what Herb Street and all the college football playoff experts are saying.
Well, you got one here on the phone here too. You got one right here on the phone. Me.
I want to know this, Mike. Dad thinks Mississippi State could possibly beat Auburn this weekend.
I do believe so.
You think that's possible? I'm so
unless Auburn just lays down, you know, they're capable of doing that.
But don't you like the front? Don't you think Mississippi State's got a real good front?
Defensive front?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how they look, they can do it when you throw 67 times in a ball game and 85% of it's missing 8 parts.
Yeah.
Nobody's lined up against Mississippi State and brought 8 against you.
Well,
Everybody rushes 3 and drops 8. They let the linebackers stay 8 yards, 10 yards deep, and Will Rogers just dumps them over the line.
Yeah.
If you throw that many times, you only have two passes over 20 yards.
So you're going out on a limb and saying Will Rogers will not beat Albee at Auburn. You're saying that Auburn is going to win the football game. Auburn is going to win the football game. It is an 11 o'clock kickoff from Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. It's Auburn and Mississippi State, and I say Auburn wins. Auburn wins. Auburn's going to win the football game, Max. I just thought you might like that fanfare today. Auburn needs and deserves that.
You need to be real and look at the teams. You know, he's only got about 50 kids left on the roster. Their offense is so limited right now. They don't have a running back. All they're trying to do is get through the season. Now, Auburn's capable of laying it on the ground and, you know, not playing very well either. And I thought I don't think they played well at all at home this past week against A&M.
See, I thought they would have beat A&M.
Yeah, I thought Auburn had a chance if they played, you know, if they played what they should do. Let's put it that way.
Auburn had a chance.
That's what's going with Gus right now. Gus Malzahn's got the most inconsistent program, you know, out there. It's almost as bad as Texas A&M.
But now let me go real quickly to my expert at the far end of the table, Forrest Lee. And what is the buyout? How much would they have to pay to get rid of Malzahn at Auburn?
I think it's between 20 and 28 million bucks.
He said between 20 and 28 million. I don't know what figure is the highest.
The number's 23, I think.
$23 million it would cost Auburn to fire Malzahn.
Here's what you do, Mike. Here's what you do. You call Gus in and say, we're going to use the Southern approach. We know how much we owe you. You tell us how much you want down and how much a month. And we pay you out over the next 20 years.
Yeah, you're right. What you do, you ask them what is guaranteed. Is that right?
That's the way they do it, isn't it? I mean, Chiswick's probably still being paid right now.
He is. He absolutely is on that same plan.
And you know what? And I like him. You know.
Jerry Beasley?
No, Chiswick.
Will Muschamp got the same deal. And he came from 13 to 11 and a half, but he took $500,000 up front and put 11, you know, on a deferred plan.
So he got 11 million to leave.
11 and a half.
11 and a half. So don't feel sorry for that young man.
He got 6 to leave Florida, so he's got close to 20 million in the bank.
Oh me. Let me ask this: do you think he could still coach, or would he have to wait several years?
I think he learned his lesson that he's a defensive coordinator, and that's where he goes.
And everybody's not a good head coach.
They still get those salaries if they take another coaching job, but they subtract what you're getting paid.
Normally, that's right. That's normal.
Yeah.
You know, the way that's handled. But see, we're fixing up another one in Tennessee.
Excuse me?
We
lost you, Max.
Put the booster on.
I said, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now, yeah.
I said, I think they're going to have a chip in Tennessee as well. I thought Jimmy Pruitt probably could have saved his job, but after the exhibition this weekend, they lost 4 kids off their recruiting class already decommitted. That program's going into shambles up there, and I think they're going to have to make a team.
Now, and of course, you know, I did not hear you give me a Final Four.
You weren't listening. You was talking, Mike.
All right, I'm sorry. All right, okay, go ahead and give me your Final Four.
Let me say this. Let me give you the best 4 teams in the country.
That's the way to do it, right?
4 teams.
All right, I thought I did that. Yeah, okay.
All right, that's Alabama's first. I don't think there's any doubt with anybody. Then probably the winner of the Clemson Notre Dame. But I put both of those in Ohio State. That's the 4 best
That's
teams
right.
in the country.
That's right.
Now, where they get in or not, I don't know. But you start there and look down. Who's you got? You got Texas A&M. You got Florida. You got Cincinnati.
Probably the best team it doesn't have a chance at Oklahoma. Oklahoma would probably be your 5th choice if they hadn't lost 2 games.
Yeah, but they got 2 losses.
That's right.
See, so what do you do there? And let me tell you, there's another one out there that you guys fix to look at. It's Coastal Carolina, where you watch that game with BYU or not.
Mm-hmm.
But Coastal Carolina, I mean, they're playing as well as anybody else beyond those top 4.
Yeah. Tell us what Troy would have to do to beat Coastal Carolina.
I've looked at both of them, Mike. I don't know.
Not show up. Hey, go ahead and tell them that we don't have enough players.
Well, it's like you said, Troy should have beat them last year. Why can't we beat them this year?
That's right.
Hey, listen, since the college game that the award wins and losses, because of cancellation, that might not be a bad idea.
Don't worry about it.
Louisiana Monroe just fired their coach yesterday, so you still got them at the end to get you 6 wins.
Who is that you're talking about?
Lafayette.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Monroe, yeah, no
Monroe,
question.
excuse me, I'm sorry.
And would they show up to play a Thursday night game against Troy?
I just read an article up here this morning saying that they're preparing. Their defensive coordinator's going to run the.
Well, good.
They cancel this weekend, and they're getting ready for Troy.
Well, good. That'll be good. That'd be good. They think they can beat Troy, or they wouldn't. They wouldn't have got.
They're 0-10, Mike.
Yeah, no question about it. Max Howell is our guest, and we appreciate him so much this morning. Max, this is a really, really difficult situation we're running into with it, knowing whether or not these teams, surely, well, I would think next to Alabama-Auburn, the Michigan-Ohio State game is probably the biggest rival game in college football, and they've canceled the game. It must have been pretty bad because that's a huge, huge money situation there.
But I know, but let me just go back and analyze, Mike, where Michigan is right now. Harbaugh's ready to walk.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to predict he walks in the next week or 2. But that's the first time that game's not been played in 108 years. It's one of the longest rivalries in the country. And by the way, it still holds the edge, even though Harbaugh has never beaten Ohio State. They've got about an 56 to 49.
Hey, Max, you weren't here earlier. I'll give you some trivia about Michigan. They were the all-time winningest football program until last week. Alabama passed them. Alabama now has one more. And that's on the field games. That's not including the vacated and forfeited games. But if you just count the actual football games, Alabama just moved past Michigan in all-time wins.
Yeah, that's why I think it was such a big deal to cancel it. That's why, if you analyze it, there's a reason why. I know they're using the virus thing. But look, I still go back and say when a conference has got a number, like the SEC's got 54, but they got an exemption. When Mississippi State went to Georgia, they took 49 players. Last week, Ohio State played without 15 players, 3 starters, and they still beat Michigan State. So, I mean, they're always, this time of year, they're making exceptions on every kind of rule. That's why I think, I do believe, regardless of who wins between Notre Dame and Clemson, I think both those teams will probably be in. And I think it'll be Alabama and Ohio State will be the other 2 probably.
Hey, Max, the Rose Bowl, again, are there any indication that they may move that site as a semifinal playoff site since they're not allowing fans?
I think that's a really good question, and I don't know that they've made that final decision yet. I do know from everything I've read that they are considered that very,
They're not letting anything happen in L.A. and California right now. I mean, NFL teams are moving to other states.
They're not even going to allow the parents to attend that game.
This week is not over with yet. I'm afraid we're going to hear more and more because this virus is at its full swing right now. I just hope that we can get vaccinated. What I can't understand is why don't we go ahead and get vaccinated?
But that wouldn't help for a long time because you got to get 2 shots for one thing, 3 weeks apart. You got to get it to 70% of the population. I mean, it's got to be refrigerated in certain super cool refrigerators. The earliest you're going to be able to have vaccinated enough people for it to stop the virus spread is maybe June. At the earliest.
Oh, me. Now, don't be telling me
then
that.
You got the military. And
let's find somebody that doesn't have to have
first.
2 shots and doesn't have to have the frozen. There's some products out there that don't have to have all those.
I think the Pfizer one and the Moderna vaccines both require 2 shots. I mean, there's one, and they're separated by about 3 weeks. But
there's some other ones out there though that don't require that. Is that right?
No, those are the only 2 that are close to getting FDA approval.
How about in Britain though? What are they using?
They're using the Pfizer one, I think. It requires 2 shots, and you got to keep it super cold refrigerators, and it can only store it for X number of days. The logistics are massive on doing this.
I think this is to bring Mike Amos back in here. Let's see here real quick. No, it's all right. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike.
We got Will Matthews on the phone and Max Howell. Hold on a minute, Will. All right, I got both of you on here, Will Matthews and Max Howell. Is that right?
I'm here.
Hey, Will.
Will, and then Mike, you're not here. Is that right?
No, sir.
Yeah, all right. So we've got Will Matthews. Good morning, Will. We got Max Howell on our show, and Bill Rice Jr. How about that?
Hey, someday you're gonna make it work where you can get 3 people on.
Well, we've been trying to do it for years and haven't been able to, but I'm proud as I can be to have 2 of you on the line.
Hey, Will, not in our lifetime.
Well, they're giving away. Hey, listen, you reckon if I said that Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks were giving away a brand new pickup truck, I bet you I'd have a lot of listeners, wouldn't I?
You probably would.
Of course, I'm being facetious. Okay, Will, what do you got to add to our program already, Will? What's going on?
Well, I've got a lawyer friend of mine that wants Max's number. Can you get Max to text me his number and I'll give it to him? He's a fan. His son's an assistant coach somewhere, and he wants to talk to Max.
All right, well,
Max's number. Just text me Max's number today, and I'll get it to him.
all right, Max, can you text him your number?
I don't have Will's number. I'll text it to you.
Okay, all right.
Send it to Mike, maybe he'll figure out.
That's the biggest question mark right there.
Hey, Will, I know he doesn't read text messages and rarely ever answers the phone.
Oh, man. Not all the time, you're right. If it's important, I'll remember it, I hope.
I want to guess.
Of course, we got Bill Rice, we got Forrest Lee.
I got a question for this esteemed board panel. Y'all think there's any chance in the world that Devontae Smith could get serious consideration or be a finalist or even win the Heisman?
If he does, it's going to take votes away from Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I don't think he will. No, I think it's a 2-man race in the SEC championship. Whoever plays the best in that game will win.
And I think number 22 for Alabama is the best running back in the country. Catching the ball and running the ball. What do you think about that, Max? He's as good as they come, isn't he?
I mean, he's an NFL player playing at the college level.
I mean, he's a grown man playing against boys, wouldn't you say?
He is.
Now, I love Mac Jones, but I'm going to make this point. Devontae Smith is the most valuable player on the Alabama team. If you take away Devontae Smith, Alabama's offense is nowhere. I mean,
well, I feel the same way about number 22, though. I'll take number.
But if you took away him, have you seen Alabama's other running backs? They're still. If you took away Najee, Alabama's second, third, and fourth string running backs would still be getting 5 yards a pop.
Have y'all forgotten about number 17?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, what if they had him playing?
You know, and they say that he's trying to make it back to the championship game. I don't know if he'll be able to do it. But it would make you feel pretty good to have him back to feeling punch, wouldn't it?
I do think it's possible that Alabama could have, of the top 5 Heisman finalists, 3 of them, which I guarantee you in the history of college football has never happened. In other words, Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, and Najee Harris are all going to be top 5 Heisman finalists.
Max, you mentioned something just a while ago, and do you think Michigan will let their head football coach go after the end of the season?
Well, he's got 4 years on his contract, and all they'll do is, probably look. I think they're willing to get rid of him. If you've watched them play, technique-wise, guys, I'm telling you, I've been a high school kid playing better than them.
And I bet you what you're going to say is they play too high. You don't supposed to play the game too high.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they just aren't being coached, and Harbaugh knows that, and the administration knows that. He wants to go back to the NFL. He's got 1 year left on his contract. They've already canceled the biggest opponent, in the league. Why not go back?
I want to say he's the second highest paid coach out there, isn't he? Who's above him?
Close, Dabo Swinney.
Oh, Dabo, yeah. So the Michigan coach makes right at $10 million, doesn't he?
Close to it, yeah. I think that's
Almost as much as you make.
Well, where do y'all think? Don't you think for sure that Sark will get a great head coaching job? Which job do you think that will be? Sarkisian? Anybody?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I wonder if Saban leaves or decides he wants to retire and go out on top, if he wins the national championship, would be his 7th, which would beat Coach Bryant.
Yeah. Well, Max
should he say, I'm retiring now, and could Sarkisian become Alabama's coach?
Well, Max's best friend in the coaching business is the coach at Liberty. They're real tight. Max and what's his name?
Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze, yeah. They have dinner together quite often. Am I wrong by that? Oh, did I say the wrong thing, Max?
Listen, you do have some people out there that pay attention to what you say.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you not tying me to him.
I do apologize. I'm being facetious, ladies and gentlemen.
I have always said the guy can coach on the field. If the guy walks off the football field, he ain't got a lick of sense.
Yeah. Okay, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I was being a little facetious there. But,
Max, do you think if Auburn goes over to Starkville and gets beat, do you think it's the end of Gus?
Well, here's what I told him earlier, Will. I would call Gus in and say, we're going to use the Southern approach. We owe to 22, 21, 22, 10, 23, somewhere in that range. We want to know how much down you want and how much you put. And I'd send him on his way.
Well, Jimmy Raines is over there shaking his boots. He's shaking his cowboy boots because he knows that they're going to come to him and ask him for some money.
He's about the only guy that can write that check, too.
Well, he's got it to write it, so.
yeah, exactly right.
Mike, I do have a statement to make.
This is Will Matthews, our attorney here.
This is how I know the Easter Bunny is a real person. And the Tooth Fairy is a real person. And Santa Claus is a real person. Because there are thousands of Auburn fans that believe that Gus Malzahn is a great coach. And that just proves if they'll believe that, they'll believe in the other 3 with no problem.
Well, he has beat Alabama more than most folks have, though.
Anybody else?
Yeah, but what about all the other games?
Yeah, I know it. I know it. Well, he said something this week. He said, he acted like 6-4. He'd be happy with 6-4.
This year, yeah.
I tell you what, I got Auburn friends that live on my block that would fight him over that. Because, you know, four losses a year is not good at Auburn
I'll
either.
say this about Auburn, too. You never know what you're going to get on the Saturday, but Auburn could have easily had 2 more losses this year, or maybe should have had 2 more. Yeah.
They should have had 2 more.
They were, and of course, what gets me, Max, all right, this is where I wanted to hit. All right, the guru, the recruiting guru has Auburn 39th in the country. Auburn University now, 39th in the country when it comes to recruiting right now, the ratings. And one poll has them 55. Max, how does that happen?
See, therein lies part of the problem. It's called evaluation of talent. You know, how did they lose 5 starting offensive linemen and had nobody that could come in this year and play? Then they already had 1 or 2 hurt. How do you get to the point with the concept of his offense and you don't have a 6'3", 230-pound running back that carries the ball 25 times a game? Because they're out there. All you got to do is go find them.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that the polls all in his program, but the loyalty, back to Will's comment, the loyalty is really not to Gus. It's to Auburn University.
Yeah.
And so many people are my friends that say, hey, you know, it's a great school. I understand all that.
Yeah, there's no question.
Saturday afternoon, it's all about the football
Yeah.
program. And sometimes you're going to get embarrassed along the way, and there's a reason that happens, and there's a reason to correct it.
And right now, you know, of course, their quarterback is a average, good to average college quarterback. But he says that before he leaves, this quarterback of his will win a national championship. That kid is not that brand of quarterback.
They have not developed Bo Nix. I mean, every announcer comments on it. I'm sure Max could too, but the basics of quarterbacking, I used to be one, is you set your feet and then throw the football. And half his passes, he is moving his feet and going sideways and backwards.
They call it happy feet. Is that right, Max?
He's not stepping into his passes.
Yeah, he just, but you know what, you go back and look, you tell me the last quarterback Gus developed. I can just give you a list of things he didn't develop, but give you what he did. Now, Cam Newton came there, give him the credit that was, and then the other little kid that came, the little junior college kid, Marshall, came there, he was a defensive back, but he could run a 4-3. You know, that worked out good for the quarterback to run and keep the ball. But other than that, all of the Jeremy Johnson kid was the best. He was just at Alabama in football and basketball.
Yeah.
He was there. He was over roster, I guess, 3 years.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
He went backwards.
Who is that now?
Jeremy Johnson from Carver High School in Montgomery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he was supposed to be the guru too. You know, he was a great athlete. He might be the best athlete that's ever played the quarterback at Auburn.
Probably true, Mike. Probably true.
Max, of course, you know, Alabama. Listen to this now. They got a game this week at Arkansas. Then they got the SEC championship game. Then they've got a playoff game and then a championship game. They've got 4 more pretty big games to look at them. And like Auburn will play their last game, they'll get a bowl invite. So they've got one game left. But Alabama's got four games left. There's not many teams out there, you know. That's me thinking they're going to win and be in the playoffs.
If you're playing for a national championship, Mike, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, ask Alabama fans that they'd rather have Auburn right now's opportunity to play in a bowl game and play Mississippi State, or have Alabama's opportunity to win 4 more.
No question about it.
Alabama, I tend to sometimes see the weaknesses, but I want to talk about some of their strengths. They must have really good leadership on that team. The players are buying.
Bill, that just didn't happen.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Go back and look at Saban's track record. He recruits to that first. That's his first and foremost. And he recruits the right kids to fit his program.
I mean,
so many coaches don't do that.
Najee Harris, I think, has become a good leader. Mac Jones is. Devontae Smith is probably a great leader, and on and on and on. They seem to care. I mean, you talked about, you could tell before the Troy game that you said Troy looked like they were ready to play.
They sure did, yeah.
I watched some of the pregame warm-ups against LSU. They had some tight camera shots of players doing drills. And I said, man, Alabama is ready to go tonight. And they were.
Well, they had 4 players
no question about it.
You know, reject the NFL
of course,
and stayed. That could have been within the top
That's true,
2 rounds of the draft.
You know, Alabama's defense is supposed to be getting better, Max, and we'll find out this weekend because Arkansas got a good offense.
Come on, Mike.
Come on.
It's Arkansas.
Yeah, it's Arkansas. So you don't think they'll score more than 2 touchdowns then? Is that right?
They don't have the talent level.
Yeah.
Chad Morrison left them with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, Sam Pittman's done a good job in what they got, but they don't have enough talent to play at that level. I think the whole question now is does Coach Saban stay with his philosophy about playing his ones all the way into the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Well,
that's going to get him one of these days if he keeps doing that.
How the bowl games going to work out, Max? Do you think the major bowl games will continue, or do you think we're going to have to?
I'm just wondering how they're going to, pay the teams any kind of guarantee when all they got is the TV revenue over there.
Yeah.
That's a long time coming. They don't get that next week because there'll be no attendance in these games, these bowl games.
Good point. Yeah.
I think that's going to be interesting.
Hey, Max, let me tell you something that came up earlier in the week. I've got a friend of mine that is a big South Carolina booster, and he is very upset over the hire of Beamer.
Sure. Right.
And, you know, the guy's never been a coordinator. He's never been a head coach. You know, it's just, and the people over there are very, very upset that this thing run through without any kind of surge or anything.
Yeah, I know it.
They just team up with this guy.
Well, I think it's a budgetary thing. They had to pay Muschamp $11.5 to get him out of there. Then they had 2 or 3 coordinators that had to pay a couple million to. So their budget, has been squeezed. Therefore, they couldn't go after a big name coach. The only 2 guys that's ever had great success over a long period of time was Steve Spurrier and Lou Holtz, and that was at the end of their career. And they had to pay those guys pretty good.
Yeah.
There, well, they don't have the money right now to do that.
And then also they got to pay for membership to the Masters too, don't they? Well, that's how they got the old ball coach.
He was already a member over there.
He was already there, and Hootie Johnson was a big South Carolina.
That's right.
Hootie got
Oh man, that's unreal.
The football coach does not get a membership.
No.
That's not true.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you calling in this morning, Will. You always add to the program. And
Tell him I'll send it back. I'll send that number to you.
Hey, Will, what did you think about the Masters being played in November? I thought it went off pretty good.
It was different. I mean,
yeah.
It just goes to show you, though, in the winter, that course plays a lot easier than it does in spring.
Yeah. Will, this is Mike again. I know you don't mind anybody knowing your office number. What is your office number in Ozark, your law office?
It's 334.
334, Max. 774, Max. 8804.
Okay, I got it.
And of course that's the law offices of Will Matthews, and of course he's an outstanding lawyer. And I need to talk to you sometime today, Will, away from the mic, about another issue.
Well, give me a call. In fact, I got my daughter. I just picked her up. She's in the car with me, so she and I practice law together.
Hey, how you doing? Good to hear from you, dear. And then look, you be real nice to your daddy this Christmas. Now he needs something related to golf. Just get him maybe some tees. Give him some tees, and he'll be happy.
Yeah, he's a rabid Alabama fan. He plays $1 million.
That's right. That's right. I remember that.
I tell you, it is a joy to watch this Alabama football team. They look awful on defense against Ole Miss, but they don't look awful anymore. I won't say they look great, but they look, you know, decent.
All right. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you, sir.
Max will remember this, but Saban's first 2 years at Alabama, he got rid of about 25 players. Just ran them off. I mean, he got rid of the riffraff, and that's what Mike Leach is doing at Mississippi State. I'm going to tell you something. Once he gets rid of the riffraff and gets some decent players, he's going to be tough to deal with.
Yeah. You know, Max, this new recruiting, when they tell you that these guys are going to have another year, but it's up to the coaches whether they keep them or not. Isn't that right? They might just run half of them off. What do you think?
They all one-year contracts now.
So they could get rid of players they really maybe made a mistake on, or they're just not gelling in their program.
But hey, Will, let me make one more comment about Mike Leach's offense. You know, his numbers were really run up and down the board when he was in the Big 12 and the Pac-12. The difference is he's going to play defenses over here he's never seen before. And I don't know that Mississippi State can get enough kids to run that system against quality defenses in the Southeastern Conference. That's my only concern for him. And that's a concern of some of the boosters as well. He's purging the roster. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And he should. But the fact is, can he get enough to replace that can run that style of offense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the first thing is quarterback. He better get a good quarterback.
Well, he might have one.
Yeah. The big thing is going to be his offensive front, Mike. And I'll tell you why, because nobody's rushed 6 or 8 against him. Everybody's rushed 3 against him, trying to protect against a short pass. Or just, put 8 up there and break the one they block.
No question about it.
Run for his life.
Max, the most important thing for a lot of people that are watching us today, it's very important, is what's for dinner.
I got this steak the other night. Of course, we're just coming off of Thanksgiving. Everybody was kind of tired of turkey dressing and all that. Had an invite. I cooked some 1.5 to 2-inch ribeyes on this outside kitchen I use up here. And you talk about good. I marinated them. I do a base marinade with Worcestershire, black pepper, and garlic powder. And I marinate them about 3 to 4 hours. And I marinade. Every time I flip them, I pour that marinade over them to keep them moist.
Yeah.
So, I think I cooked 8 or 9 steaks Sunday night.
Yeah. And they were tender. You could cut them. You could cut them with a fork.
To be sure, because most of our people like a medium to medium rare.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get the inside too dark.
Let's gas up that Dodge and go.
I use real charcoal too. I don't use gas.
Yeah, no question.
And then we ended up there. We had a traditional sides, coleslaw. They like coleslaw and potato salad, both of them, baked beans, all that garlic bread on the side.
Oh, that sounds good.
But the big one was we had the 2 best desserts out there. Banana pudding is first, and second is the Mississippi mud pie, which is that's a 3-layer chocolate.
Ooh.
Chocolate syrup and pecans between each one. Take it out of the oven warm. Homemade ice cream on the top.
Oh, boy, you're making me hungry.
Hard to beat that one.
We're going to eat at Julia's today with eggs over light with country sausage.
Mm-hmm.
That's good eating.
The little Kanaka. Well, no, they're more or less. They've got the wonderful link sausage.
Oh, they got a great breakfast spread. Yeah.
Well, Max, we've covered a lot today, and I appreciate you so much, my friend, and look forward to hearing what you got to say next week, and hopefully the show will go on.
I know it will, Mike. It's always my pleasure to be with you guys.
You're a great one. Thank you so much. That's Max Howell, and of course also Will Matthews, and also Mike Amos calling in. Hope you've enjoyed our show today, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Truck. And, of course, Troy Bank and Trust Company, the only bank you'll ever need. Somebody told me it's one of the largest banks in Alabama now. It's a $1 billion bank at Troy Bank and Trust right here in Troy, Alabama. Hope that you will watch our show again at 1:30 and see you tomorrow bright and early for Today in L.A.